I'm Dan Wiener.
I'm Sandy.
And we had a little problem. We had to put on a room addition for our daughter and her husband, and they're moving back in with us. And there wasn't quite enough room with what we had. So
we had a 3-bedroom home, and that just wasn't going to be enough, especially since we've, of course, already using the other 2 bedrooms for other things. So she needed a much bigger bedroom and an office. And we had a old little granny flat we built for my mother many years ago. But after she passed, we turned it into a family room, but it needed to be connected to the house. So we expanded it, vaulted the ceiling beautifully, which I'd always wanted on this house, with a vaulted ceiling. Of course, we went and got an old friend of mine who's an architect and had him do up some plans, but then we needed somebody to build it. And our daughter Aubrey had met Cal and Pam, and so we called them, and we just really fell in love with them, and we hired them to do the construction, and they just really did a fabulous job. We are just so happy.
I did my due diligence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I talked to the architect who was doing the plans, and he had somebody he recommended that he knew from this area. He actually recommended well, he didn't recommend, he gave me a reference to a second contractor as well, so that I'd have 3 contractors to talk to. And then we had, so we got quotes from them and from Cal. And, you know, looking at it and talking to everybody, we thought that Cal would do the best job, and that we'd have the most confidence. The question is, who's going to do a good job, and who can you trust, and to make sure that when problems arise, and they always arise, you know, that they'll get fixed and that it'll get done quickly. You know, I'm an electronic engineer and computer programmer and such, and so I'm familiar with the idea of bugs in the software. You know, when the problem arises, you figure out what the problem is and you fix it. And so that's kind of the attitude I take as an engineer. And I think that Cal has pretty much the same attitude. You know, that's why I think he named his company Peace of Mind Construction. That you know, any large project is going to have problems. That's just the way things are. You try to minimize them, and I think that Cal worked to try to do that, but once in a while something will come up, and the test of whether you've got a good contractor is whether it gets fixed, or whether, you know, and if you got a bad contractor, he's going to argue with you. He's going to say, well, this wasn't part of the initial plans, or I'm not responsible for that. And you don't get that out of Cal, and that was the impression I had when we first met him, and I'm very happy that that's the way it turned out to be. If there was something, he said, oh, you know, we'll figure out a way of doing this, or if I wanted to add on something, and I did have 2 or 3 major things, as it turned out, in the course of the project that I decided I wanted to add on, and he was very reasonable. Important stuff is done here. Aubrey and Jeff are moved in. They're comfortable. Everything's working.
We have peace of mind.
We have peace of mind now.
We have the house I've always dreamed of.